Good.
Recording in progress.
Do we have a quorum? Do we have a quorum?
Yes, we do.
Hey. Okay. I'll call to order the meeting of August Neighborhood and Community Improvement Program Committee meeting of August 10th to order. It's still an IP in my book, will always be, but that's on record. Tom, you have to read the script?
Cool. Yeah. Welcome to the August 10th meeting of the Monterey Neighborhood and Community Improvement Program. In-person rules. The city of Monterey is committed to the safe attendance of its public meetings. Masks are encouraged for all who attend in person, regardless of vaccination status. We ask that attendees in the council chamber keep their phones and devices muted to prevent audio interference and feedback with the hybrid meeting. Zoom procedures tonight. The city of Monterey seeks to continue to offer virtual methods for public participation in meetings. If you aren't joining us in person here in the council chamber, there are two ways to virtually participate in this meeting. You may join the meeting directly on Zoom Gov using the Zoom app on your computer or mobile device. And you can also call into the Zoom meeting. To join the meeting on Zoom on your computer, smartphone, or telephone, use the link or phone number on the agenda at isearchmonterey.org. To call into the Zoom meeting, dial toll-free 833-568-8864. Then enter the meeting ID, which is 161-843-6636, and the pound symbol or hashtag. And if prompted to enter a participant ID, just press the hashtag symbol. Detailed instructions on using Zoom are available at monterey.org/public meetings. To make a public comment using the Zoom app, you can virtually raise your hand by pressing the raise hand button at the bottom of your screen. If you dialed in by phone, raise your hand by dialing *9, then unmute yourself when called upon by dialing *6. You must do both. Public commenters will be muted until it is their turn to speak. Public speakers will be called on in the order their hands are raised. Please stay within the time limit established for today's meeting, which we will show using a countdown timer on the screen. If you are connected live on Zoom, the timer is accurate with no delay. Today's meeting is also streamed live on the city's YouTube account, which is accessible at youtube.com/City of Monterey with an approximate 10-second delay, and also on Comcast Channel 25 with up to a 90-second delay. As always, we look forward to receiving your public comments.
Thank you, Tom. At this point, we have one item before we get into some of the more of the meeting, and we have public comments, and that's approval of the minutes of June 22nd meeting. Oh, you're right. We do have to do roll call. I think someone is itching to take up my place as chair, which would be great. Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, dang. I was trying. Go ahead, roll call, please.
Algohito Oaks. Alta Mesa.
Here.
Casanova Oak Knoll.
Here.
Deer Flat.
Here.
Del Monte Beach.
Here.
Del Monte Grove Laguna Grande.
Here.
Downtown.
Here.
Fisherman's Flat.
Here.
Glenwood.
Here.
Monterey Vista.
Here.
New Monterey.
Here.
Oak Grove.
Here.
Old Town.
Here.
Skyline.
Good evening.
And Via Del Monte.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, and we do have a quorum, correct, Tom?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, so let's move on to the next agenda item, which is now we can do the approval of minutes of June 22nd. Well, I assume no one has any questions or changes on it?
I do have a quick comment. I did come a little late, forgot to sign, so I was listed as absent, but I was actually there.
Okay,
That was the only comment.
if we could would the maker of the motion include amending the minutes to include that note? Okay. Any other comments or questions on the agenda, on the minutes? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Alta Mesa,
Aye.
Casanova Oaknall,
Aye.
Deer Flat,
Aye.
Del Monte Beach,
Aye.
Del Monte Grove Laguna Grande,
Aye.
Downtown,
Aye.
Fisherman's Flat,
Aye.
Glenwood,
Aye.
Monterey Vista,
Aye.
New Monterey,
Aye.
Oak Grove, Old Town,
Aye.
Skyline,
Aye.
and Via Del Monte.
Aye.
Just to confirm, is Oak Grove here?
Hi, Pat's here. Luz was supposed to be on Zoom, but she isn't on yet, so I guess I'm on.
Okay, thank you.
Motion carries. The minutes are approved. At this point, it's public comments, which is any member of the public can address the NCIP on any matter within the purview of the NCIP that is not on the agenda. You'd have 3 minutes if you can approach the podium, and I'm not seeing a rush in here. And is there anyone online with a hand raised?
No hands online.
Okay, thank you. Seeing none, we'll close public comments and move to informational reports and staff comments.
Thank you. I just wanted to remind everyone, the committee members, that we have to operate under the terms of the Brown Act. So if you're going to be attending remotely, please let us know in advance. We will do a better job from here on forward, just reminding everyone before the agenda goes out. If we can include the physical location of where you will be attending the meeting from, then you can participate and vote, and all that is above board. It just became an issue, well, not an issue, but it was just something that we went through again today, and just realized like, oh, we haven't really talked about it since February when we first came in. But I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have either now or, before the next meeting. But we'll try and contact you if you know you're not going to be in attendance. Please let us know, and we can make arrangements to have you attend and be counted in person. Well,
no,
for the vote. We still need a quorum in the meeting room. We have 15 committee members, so we need 8 people. We have 9 tonight, so we're good that way.
Anyone have any questions for Tom? Okay. The account balances.
We can go over that if you'd like. I can get into that during the next item, or if you would like, I can present it now.
Well, so if I'm understanding this, we have 2.255 million.
Yes.
And that's after, but that does not include anything we would put aside for contingency. It's not taken out of that.
This is before any action for this evening. So it doesn't include the allocation that will be coming to the program this year. And we'll get into that, but it's just the ending balance, contingency, and there were 3 projects that were approved the last time we met in June that have not been before council yet for the transfer of funding to be completed. So there's $50,000 that we've encumbered that I removed from that. But yes, it's about 2.25 million.
Okay, I see a hand raised from an attendee. Oh, nope. There went the hand. Okay. Let's go on to NCIP information report, spokesperson report. I do not have anything to report at this point. So move on to public appearance item, which is really why we're here, which is to determine where the cutoff point is going to be from our approved list of projects, which is then that list then is what is submitted to the council for their approval. So, Tom?
Right. Thank you. And if you'll see in your agenda packet on the second page of item number 3, we have a list of just the funding that is received. We'll begin there. So from the transient occupancy tax last year, fiscal year 22-23, there was almost $8 million that was received. The interest earned on that, there's a typo, it's an error that I made in the report. It should be for fiscal year 22-23 as well. It's $91,820. The ending balance account is currently 1.9 million. And the program overhead that finance pulls from the revenue that was received is 384,000, leaving us with the total available funding for 22. This should be 23-24 as well. So for next year's, the projects that we will be voting on this evening is about $7.4 million.
Okay, so a couple of questions. So 404,900 or thereabouts of existing contingency is already out of that number. So now, but what we voted on voting night would need to come out of that.
So
Because it's already allocated. So the 404,000 is already allocated.
right.
So it's not in there. So we're talking about, but we do have to, what we vote on for contingency plus then where we want to cut off on the.
Correct. And at the last meeting, so because the item was not agendized as a public appearance item last time, we were thinking that we could figure out what the contingency was going to be this evening and just like make it official.
Okay.
The way I understood it from the last meeting, we had the 404,900 that's in there now. We were going to add another 600,000 from the monies received from the TOT revenue.
So in other
We
words,
removed.
it would be 7.4 minus 600,000 is where the cutoff, that amount is where the cutoff. is.
Correct. That's
Okay.
correct. And we did, like, just going through the rest of the table on this page, we took out the $50,000 in the projects that were approved. So we've encumbered that money. So we reduced it by that. That was for the Pacific Street light over by the library, the Fisherman Flats traffic calming plan, and the Mar Vista traffic calming plan. Those 3 projects amount to $50,000. The old capital site master plan was actually approved by council. The funding transfer occurred already. So that was $40,000 that we approved back in June. So that came out of the 404. So we're just trying to keep the numbers
So
correct.
on the grid of all the projects, the number we have at the top is the amount minus contingency, and that's the number we're using to move forward.
That's correct.
Okay. $6,779,721.
Yes.
2 cents.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, and
about
70
2
cents or something. Ridiculous. That's correct.
Okay.
So, starting at the top with the beginning at 6.779, 721, and then subtracting the estimated,
So I'm a little confused on the second to last paragraph on page 2. In the mid-year budget cycle, 1.2 million of the general fund was reimbursed to NCIP.
yes.
Where does that show up in this funding?
On the balance,
Ending
well,
balance.
it's the ending balance. Yeah, it was
So that
1.9.
1.9 million really includes the 1.2 million that was reimbursed for the.
Up on the third line from the top, the ending balance account, 31 NUNAP is 1.9. 1,535,000. Without the 1.2 that was allocated, it was 700,535.
Okay.
So that's where that comes
Yeah.
in.
And the second question is, do we have a detail of the overhead charge for 383,000?
No, it's the what finance withholds for the program, and it's just other staff time, not necessarily public works, but the way I understand it, it's for city attorney's office, the city manager's office, and
Heretofore, we had a breakout
Yeah.
of how that was determined.
And typically the finance officer would meet with the three of us to look at that, to applying for the committee that, yes, it's all done kosher and wonderful.
okay.
So we would like to see that detail. We could.
I don't know if I can get that, but I will ask for it.
We have gotten it historically every year.
Understood.
So, but give a shot. And if we need to rattle a cage of of current general manager, we can always do that if it helps.
And typically we've seen it before this meeting, so we could tell the rest of the group, it's cool.
Yes. All right, we'll ask.
And typically also, we voted on allocating it.
Mhm.
Because I've always voted against allocating it. That's how I remember we always voted.
And quick related question. In the past, we had said we were funding a full-time position out of NCIP's funds. And so if this is just that mass calculation, that means we are no longer funding a position, a sole position just out of.
Let me find out what this includes and not, so that position may be in this figure. I do not know. I
Okay.
haven't seen a breakdown of it.
We'll be looking forward to you letting us know.
Okay,
But in the meantime, we're moving forward with these numbers, because if it turns out it's not and it's different, it would just shift where that last project is. Yeah. Is that, I mean, are you want, is that your presentation or for us to open discussions, or you have?
I had no more. We can go. I don't know. We didn't prepare any slideshow or anything. If you would like to go through the
No, it's
project.
kind of where, that's where the numbers come. It's where the numbers come. I
Right.
know I've gotten some concerns of some members about the costs of some of the projects,
Mhm.
but particularly 700,000 just to design the Mark Thomas Drive bike path, but
Yes,
that's an expensive design project.
yes, it is.
Why?
We actually approached a consultant, one of our on-call consultants, to find out how much it might cost to do that project. They felt it was going to be expensive just because a lot of the project along Mark Thomas Drive, well, we have the portion adjacent to the freeway, so there could be right-of-way issues. There will be issues on the bridge going over Highway 68 that we need to work out with Caltrans,
But
as
this,
well as,
but this is design.
yes,
So why does that drive the cost up for design?
there will be a lot of negotiation and communication with Caltrans on this one. There'll be public outreach.
Okay, so we're actually negotiating the right-of-way aspects as part of the design.
I don't know if we actually.
I mean, that's where I kind of, yes, we're gonna know that this is where we're doing it, this would have to happen, and when we go into construction, we're gonna have to deal with that.
Right.
Or do we have to get that worked out up front in order to do the design? I don't know, just.
Well,
it just
one of
seems like a lot
the-
Money for a design.
Issues that came up, like in the project description, it mentioned shovel ready, which means all of the issues would be resolved
okay.
prior to that,
Okay. That
which
doesn't
would
make-
then give us something that we could go and apply
no,
for
It
grant.
means you've dealt with every
Everything.
single thing and it goes to bid.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
To add anything, because one of the other concerns is anything having to do with Caltrans, we're going to have to look at alternatives, and we're going to have to look at every alternative in order to get to a approved project, considering how much overlap that there will be with Caltrans right away. So we wanted to make sure that we wouldn't need to keep
Mhm.
coming back. And obviously this is for the design of this project. So this will not fund the construction of the project. So anything that is not used for the purposes of this phase would have to be returned back to the ending
Mhm.
balance.
Okay.
So if there is ever that where we come in less than, we find it's less complicated than we thought, although we all know complicated construction projects here. If it turns out to be less than what we thought, the remaining funds could be returned.
I think the concern usually is if it's going to cost us 700,000 for design, it's going to be in the millions to do it, and not necessarily because
Yes,
Yeah,
and
that-
we want it we want to have a strategized project where we can look at funding the entire thing with the grant or funding it in phases with a grant. So this will prepare us for every opportunity and every grant opportunity we can find.
Dennis?
What's the ballpark guess on the grant need once you get past the shovel ready project?
So it's normally about 10, so the design is normally about 10% of the construction. So then we're thinking 6 million. So, and obviously this is so not fleshed out. We need to do this design in order to give you a number. So if I say that number now, do not hold me to it, because I start digging, I start looking, and I just find more things. So that's why we need to do this exploratory. We have not turned over any rock. So all of this is up in the air.
So it's just 1 million, but if it's 10% at 700,000, it'd be 7 million, not 6 million.
We changed the
Yeah.
numbers, so I don't know what the last number is. So is it 750 now?
700.
700. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So then it would,
Okay,
That
but
was-
actually you answered why it's that big right now is to be shovel ready. Yes, you're
Mhm.
going to have the options. You're going to have the right of way negotiated. You're going to have everything.
yeah, we want to have all of the paperwork done with Caltrans so that we just go straight into construction.
One more question. How long does it take to get it to shovel ready? Is it going to be a couple of years?
Probably, and all of it is contingent on the negotiations with Caltrans, because Caltrans has time. So, and we have to have an adopted project with them in order for us to do some of these negotiations.
So if Caltrans puts the kibosh on the thing 18 months from now, it all comes back to NCIP, or
It-
what's not spent?
Yeah, what's not spent. And it also is, if they can put the kibosh on certain alternatives, it means that we can explore other alternatives. So we can, I don't know what Caltrans is going to say. So all of it's up in the air.
But we want you to be clairvoyant.
I mean, they should have put that on the project, on my employee description, as other duties assigned, clairvoyance.
Okay. Good. Okay, Tom?
As long as we're talking about Caltrans.
Oh, that was
Finally got the scenic highway sign back up on scenic. The number 2 designated scenic highway in all of California after like 7 years or
Yeah, but
8 years.
Tom, did you get the memo? Your neighborhood association's getting the bill from Callan.
Yeah,
From
yeah.
Caltrans.
Anyway, I don't know who's responsible, but
Yeah.
they finally got it up.
Okay.
Thank
Those
you.
were
If you are responsible,
We put in a service request.
yes, thank you.
Okay,
What it took to get it done, whoever is responsible. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
any other questions or anything unless, Richard, I see your hand up online.
Yes, I wrote this project. I've ridden this route hundreds of times. What I want to be clear on is the project starts after the bridge, not on the bridge. That bridge was built in 1956. It still has to be earthquake retrofitted, and dealing with Caltrans on widening the bridge, I didn't want any part of. I thought it was a deal killer. So hopefully the design, the scope that I wrote does not include anything on the bridge, anything at all. So basically the project right now would only be below the bridge to Sloat, from Sloat to Del Monte. That's it. So it's all pretty straightforward. but I've learned that Caltrans can take forever and trying to avoid as much of that as possible. So I was shocked over the price too. Original estimate was 150. Now it's at 700. If we take the bridge out, so we don't scare the consultant, and if we have to, we get another consultant. But this is I want to make sure it's shovel ready for state grants and federal grants for safe route to schools. And there's all kinds of programs. This is the only project on the list that will eventually be fully funded. If you remember, we only contributed a few $100,000 to the North Fremont project that resulted in a $10 million grant. So that's all I have to say. And hopefully most of this money will be coming back to us, because I understand shovel ready, but it looks so straightforward to me that I know the blockade with Caltrans, and it is on their side of Mark Thomas. So I'm hoping for the best. If there's any problems, please urge the staff to come back to us. Thank you.
I see a hand up for an attendee. John, Mr. Sovereign. Go ahead.
Good evening. This is John Sovereign. I just had a question or really a clarification on what was represented about the funding for the new fiscal year. So if I understand this correctly, the NCIP is really not funded on a cash basis. It's on an accrual basis. Funding comes from the TOT collected in the previous fiscal year.
Well, no, my understanding is we're actually funding based off of an estimate for the current fiscal year.
And
But it actually comes in after it's collected. So no, this is not the number based off of what was actually collected. This is a number based off of the estimate for the current fiscal year, which started June 1 or July 1.
no,
No?
actually, Mr. Sovereign is correct.
Okay.
Based on the information we received after COVID, it started to be the amount that was collected. The previous fiscal year gets applied to the program for the following fiscal year. So these are the funds that were received from July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023.
So did we get interest on that?
Yes, 91,820.
That's not the interest on what is still sitting in the fund. Because there's an amount that's been allocated but not spent that we getting interest on.
This is the amount that
Because if they're doing the actual amount collected, it was collected multiple times during the year, went into the special fund, and there would be accruing interest for that, plus the interest on what was already there.
Yeah, my guess is this is total interest. So
Yeah,
that's
I
the
just-
unspent funds from previous years plus the accruing this year.
So another question we can get
Yeah,
clarification.
because I
finance.
was in the impression it was always, it's the estimate of what's going forward, because it already said it was a estimate.
Right.
Well, and if it's what was actually done, estimate, that's an actual amount.
Correct. And that's what we've received the last 2 years.
Okay. If we could just get clarification for a future meeting, that would be helpful. And I'm sorry I took some of your time, Mr. Sovereign.
That's the clarification I was looking for. Thank you.
I think we're confused as you are.
I'm glad we're all.
Dennis, did you have your hand up?
I was just gonna say, let's get the same clarification
Yeah.
on the 383 as the 92 and so on.
Mhm.
Because usually a few of us have a chance to look at that ahead of time so we can opine to the rest of the committee.
Okay, any other questions or things on where the proposed cutoff for overall projects and having 4 cutoff projects would be? And if there isn't, I would entertain a motion indicating that we forward to council the 44 projects as in to the numbers 1 through 44 and the 4 cutoff projects as the approved NCIP list to fund and recommend that they fund all those projects. There any other questions or Jamie?
One quick question. When you get into the cutoff projects, when you have 3 or when you have things that are ranked the same,
Yes.
is it at the discretion of the construction management to decide which one gets go next?
The way we did it last year. So what happened is you could see the second column there is actual number of votes received. And so the two like 45A and 45B both received 60 votes. The way we did it was last month, but for last year's projects that were on the cutoff list, we funded both that qualified. They had the same situation. They tied with the same number of votes. So we funded both of them last year. So if we have available funding this year, which we're likely to do, we would probably fund the first 2. And then the second 2 were also tied with 59 votes.
But that means you're holding one of those 2 if perhaps one could have been funded.
Correct,
Yes.
but it didn't get voted ahead of the other one. So
Right.
which
Well, I was
one
going to
is
say,
it?
you could look at which one got more higher points or something.
No,
That's what I'm
they said they
saying.
tied.
No, I mean, if one got all 10s and then 0s and one got 5s,
Yeah.
but we're not doing that.
No,
And we're not doing that. I could get this one done. I have just enough money.
correct.
Does the committee care to address that or just leave it?
We can't allocate more than we have, so we can't say we do both of them. We'd have to take one over the other and they tied. So I mean. And reality is we may come short on some other projects above that list too, so. To me, I think it's, unless we spend some time discussing how we're gonna do flipping a coin or something for future ones, which we might want to, but. To me, I'm not gonna say downtown, you're not as important as Deer Flats because Deer Flats is cheaper versus the other and
Perhaps our rules committee would want to put that on their to-do list
okay.
if we still have one of those.
I don't know if we still have one of those, but yeah. No, I think it's something we should look at how to do it because this is a classic case of there is enough money to fund one of them, but not the other, but they tied. So. Hans?
I got a quick question on some of these estimates in the from Jeff Krebs. We used to be able to get, like, if we were interested in a particular project, get a little sheet where he calculated kind of out the estimated price by, I don't know, square feet of concrete and lineal feet of retaining wall and so forth.
Yes.
Do you have is there a little background to these estimates that can be obtained for these various for like particular projects that we're interested in?
In general, no. For a specific project, we could develop something if it was something that you were interested in, but we did not have the staff time available this year, or last year we did more, but in the past we had hired consultants to prepare some cost estimates, which we have not done recently.
Okay, I was just wondering, I mean, it was really interesting hearing about this project that, part of the expense is because so much was included. So, I mean, there's other projects here too, where it'd be interesting to know really what's included and what's not. Is that something that just verbally from you is easiest to get?
Yes.
Okay, basically, these are ballpark estimates.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I understand that.
Richard, do you still have your hand up?
Yeah, new subject. I heard recently that the forestry department received a state grant for fuel reduction. And it's going to go on top of our 750. And I think we're going to do a fantastic job on fuel reduction this year. And they're rushing to start it now before El Nino hits, especially to get the dangerous trees down in Skyline Monte Vista area, the ones that are threatening houses in streets. So anyway, I didn't know if anybody knew about the grant. I understand it's going to be over.
In the audience, so
Yeah. Well, let him tell you about it.
that's why I looked at him. He's coming to the podium, Richard.
So Richard, that is true. We just got the word yesterday. So we have 950,000 that we can use over a 2-year period. We matched that with the 150 we got from NCIP. So we really like tripled the money that we got from NCIP.
You mean the 750,000?
Yes, we'll use 150 of that to match the
Oh, okay.
funds.
Okay.
We'll do the work, but that's just matching
Okay.
funds. And so that just triples the money that we use. So we should be able to get a lot done in the next 2 years. And that is for everything that we do as far as green belts. That's for tree removal, the trees that are on the ground, all the aspects that we were going to do normally, but we just have that much more money to use.
Okay, perfect.
Any questions?
Way to go.
Okay. Huh? No goats. We can't get goats.
Okay.
Workman's comp.
And
They need
any other questions? If not, I'll make a motion that we forward to the council projects as the approved NCIP projects through number 44, as well as the next 4 projects as cutoff projects.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any more discussion, or is there any member of the public that wishes to address this? I'm sorry, I should have done that before I made the motion, but seeing that we really don't have any public, it's unless staff is wanting to. Okay, let's go ahead and have a roll call, please.
Walter Mesa,
Aye.
Casanova Okno,
Aye.
Deer Flat,
Aye.
Del Monte Beach,
Aye.
Del Monte Grove Laguna Grande,
Aye.
Downtown,
Aye.
Fisherman's Flat,
Aye.
Glenwood,
Aye.
Monterey Vista,
Aye.
New Monterey,
Aye.
Oak Grove,
Aye.
Old Town,
Aye.
Skyline,
Aye.
Via Del Monte.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries. The list is approved. What date will that be in front of council?
It's scheduled now for September 19th.
Okay. I may be attending that meeting remotely. Okay, next item on the agenda is committee member comments. Is any member, me, Tom, then Jamie? Or Jamie, then Tom, either way.
Just wanted to say, Sunday, September 17th, put this on your calendar, Sunday, September 17th, that's a afternoon, there'll be the Fisherman's Flats annual picnic in the park, which we haven't had for a couple of years because of the pandemic. Sunday, September 17th. You're all welcome.
2 comments. Comment number 1, there's a lot of new faces on city council. This will be the first time, I think, that they've all seen this process and this list. So, I know we cannot all go to the city council meeting, but I would think that, if a good number of us go, so we're there to show the spirit and energy and be available to answer questions. Maybe that will eliminate confusion, because I think it's a really important process that's worked really well up to this point, and hope to see it go through and continue to work. And then the other question is just about north of 40%, almost 50% of this list that was estimated out never had a chance of coming into funding this year. So I hope we can not waste engineering time putting estimates on 40 projects that we're not going to build. And maybe again, rules people look at that or give guidance or something, because I'd rather have all those hours doing my projects that are already on the list. So.
Thank you. Any other committee member? Okay, I just have one comment. I'm going to chime in. As I indicated, Tom, I will be out of town, but I will attend that council meeting remotely. So if you can let them know that I'll be available to answer questions, but it also means it would be good to have a couple, some of you there as well. Also, those who have submitted projects, whether they're controversial or not, there's nothing stopping you to come in case the council all of a sudden staff starts recommending they don't want that project on the list, which has happened before. And when I'm saying staff, I'm not meaning Tom. I mean, it could be wherever, somewhere in the thing, there's a decision that it's too much or whatever. And I've heard rumblings of some projects on that score. So it is never done until it is officially done and voted on. Richard, you have your hand up.
Yes, please explain to me the quorum problems with attending the council meeting remotely. So there will be some of us at the meeting in person, but others that would like to speak, maybe to direct projects on that list. And I don't want to break the Brown Act. What is the number we can't cross remotely and in person at the council meeting?
There are 15 committee members, so we need a majority. So that would be 8. Need 8 in person in the council chambers to conduct the meeting.
No, so what he's saying is, so at the council, speaking to it, as long as we're less than 8 committee members, we're not violating any Brown Act by having a majority of the committee there speaking to it.
Correct.
Okay, so many of you that want to chime in online for specific projects, you have the ability to do that.
Even though we're over 8?
No, it's the quorum is based off of in person.
Well, that's what I was confused on. In person or Zoom?
In person. So as long as
Only-
we have less than 8 committee members at the council chambers, we are not a quorum at the council chambers. And therefore, we're fine. And as many as you have online, you're not officially there. You're as part of the public.
Thank you.
Tom.
In the past, Rick has done an outstanding job defending all of our
It's not
projects.
quite the
Thank you.
same being remote doing it than being standing at the podium answering questions. So last time we had a in-depth discussion with them about what the amount of contingency would be. It went, at one point, it was going to be $1.5 million, and then it came back down to what they ended up voting on what we actually approved. But it went all over the map before that. So it is very good to be there. And in particular, if you've got a project that you might think there might be someone for whatever reasons has issues with, be prepared there to support it as your project. So Dennis.
Gut feel, how much do you think and these estimates are over under what the actual build is?
We tried to be realistic, but what became, realistic about the estimates. So we're hoping maybe they're a little high to account for staff time. What happened last year, we had several small projects that were all underfunded. So we had to come back here. We have to go back to council to get the authorization to transfer that. So that just ends up eating time that is valuable to us right now. So we will do.
He has no idea.
But then the follow-up question of that is, of this list that we're putting forward as 44 projects to be worked on, how many will be worked on in the next 12 months?
As many as we can bite off and chew.
But if history is an indicator, it may be 12, 15.
Because you still have ones left over from the last cycle you're working on too.
Oh, yeah, we have what, 30 projects that are active right now.
Yeah, I'd be curious
So-
what the overall.
No, it's 42.
projects 42 done in,
There's 42 right now.
because
We have 42 projects right now in the queue.
That should be an interest bearing piece.
Yeah.
And Reggie's basically working on every one of them.
And he's doing a great job moving stuff through compared to
Yes.
where we have in the past too. So
Yes.
But do you know what the aggregate budget was for those 42 projects?
It's roughly 5 million plus or minus some, yeah, it's roughly 5 million. So we're gonna add another 44 for roughly what, 86, another 7 million. So we'll be 86 projects, $12 million. One full-time staff person.
We just want to keep you busy.
it's called job security. Not necessarily in the right way, but there needs to be other people. But I know you're trying to get people hired, so it's a challenge. Okay, we have, did we do the vote? Yeah. No.
We did, well,
I voted.
this is.
Okay, my mind is shut. So, that's right. We're in council, we're in comments.
Yes.
Dennis, you're screwing me up. You're making me think we're still on the agenda item.
Oh, I mean, I could throw out another comment.
No, no other, Luz, you have your hand up.
Yes, I'm sorry I was late, but I have a question. Are we getting the September 17 agenda in our email, or how? I would like to be able to print it before. Do we get it automatically?
It's published on the city's website, and if you have a question, Luz, we'd be happy to help you find it. It typically goes out the Friday before the meeting, so that would be on. I have to look at my calendar here. It should be published on the, was it 15th? On September 15th.
Okay.
And that would be on the city's website. If you go to the iSearch function, and has all the upcoming meetings, the agendas and agenda reports and everything.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Luz. Okay. No other council commission comments. We don't have a date for our next meeting because we don't have the immediate need for one. So it would be January, barring the need for a special meeting, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.